Welcome to part 2. We are going to look at item 1 still, and we are going to look at some revision items from the different mock bodies. We are going to start with Jjeb, and item 1 for Jjeb was like this, and we are going to interpret it. Now, whenever you meet a scenario, the first thing always you have to identify which kind of problem are you dealing with. And after obtaining the problem, you look at the kind of task that has been asked. So here we have that John has 4 adopted children at his home he takes care of. He wants them to share. Now, when you look at this, we have he wants to share 520,000 shillings as their term. Now we are going to start with summarizing our item. So I'm going to come here and I write the amount to be shared. Amount to be shared is equal to 520,000. So that is the amount that is going to be shared, shillings. And he wants them to share this amount depending on the ratio of their ages. So I'm going to come in here and say ratio of the children's age, of the ages. So here we have 5 to 10 to 12 to 13. Now, after obtaining the ratio, they want us to find out how much money each of these children is going to receive. That is determining how much pocket money. So the problem is he doesn't know how this money is going to be shared among the children. And now that is the problem we want to solve. So the first thing we are going to obtain, we are going to first obtain what is the total ratio. So the total ratio, we shall have 5 plus 10 plus 12 plus 13. And this one will give us 40. So that means that when you add up the age of all the children, we end up with 40. Now from there, you're going to go on and find how much each of these children is going to receive. So I'm going to come, since we are finding pocket money for each child, we are going to start finding the pocket money basing on the age. So I'm going to say a child aged 5. So how much is this person going to get? So 5, this will be 5 out of the total, which is 40 times the 520,000. So this one will give us shillings 65000. Then I'll go pocket money for a child aged 10 years. So this will give us 10 out of the 40 times the 520,000. So when you do the mathematics, this will give us shillings 130,000. Then I'm going to say a child aged 12 years. Now 12 to be 12 out of the 40, then times our amount, which is 520,000. And this one will yield for us 12 out of 40 times 520,000. That one will give us shillings 156,000. Then we have one more. I'm going to put the child here. A child aged 13 years. So I will say 13 equals to 13 out of 40 times the 520,000. So this will give us shillings 169,000. Now, we are going to, after finding the amount of pocket money each child is going to receive, then you go back and respond to the task. So the task wanted us to find how much pocket money will each get. So that means that in your conclusion, you must be able to respond. So here you will say, each child will obtain pocket money, or each child will be getting pocket money in this kind of format. So you give what each child is going to receive. Or according to the age of the children, the child aged 5 will receive 65,000. The child aged 10 years will receive 130,000. The child aged 12 years will receive 156,000. And the child aged 13 years will receive 169,000. So that is how you make your conclusion. Okay. Now, next, we go to the second part. The second part, they're asking us that determine the amount paid for a child in the first installment and the second installment. When you read through the scenario, they told us that he deposits their school fees in 3 installments, with 60% as the first installment at the beginning of the term, 2/3 of the remaining amount by VD, and the rest of the fees balance amounting to this at the end of the term. So now I'm going to come here and say fees payment. Fees payment structure. How is this person paying? So the fees payment structure, he pays during the beginning of term. I'm going to abbreviate it as BOT. He pays around VD and the rest of the balance and the rest. So, and the rest at the end of the term, which I'm abbreviating as EOT to represent end of the term. Now, what do we know? We know very well that at the end of the day, the school fees should be able to equate to 100%. So what are you going to find? So we know that the total fees payment structure at the end of the day should equal to 100%. So what am I going to do? I'm going to find the individual amount. So I'm going to first find the bot. So bot, what percentage does he pay? He pays 60%, which is 60 out of 100. That is the 60%. What about VD? Now, then I'm going to find, this is the contribution for bot. Then I'm going to ask myself, what about how much money is always remaining? That is something you need to ask yourself. How much money is always remaining? So here you're going to allow me to let the total amount to be paid be capital T. So both he pays 60 out of 100 of the total amount, which is T. Then what is remaining? Remaining fees after remaining fees. So remaining fees will be now the capital T minus the 60 out of 100 T. If you want, you can write this as T minus 6 out of 100 is the same as 0.6 T. So what are you remaining with? T minus 0.6 here, there is an hidden 1. So 1 minus 0.6, this one gives us 0.4 T. This is the amount remaining. So how much does he pay on VD? So fees paid on VD. So they told us that the amount of fees paid on VD is 2/3 of the remainder. So it's going to be 2/3 times what was remaining, which was 0.4, 0.4 times the total contribution. So when you come here, I'll come here and say 2 divided by 3 times 0.4. We end up with 4 out of 15 of the total amount. Now, from there, I'm going to continue and ask myself, what about the remainder? So they are telling you that that is VD, and the remainder, or what remains, will be paid at the end of the term. So we say that the total fees structure will equal to the bot plus the VD plus what he pays at the end of the term. So the total fees is what you have called the capital T. At the beginning of the term, the gentleman pays 6 out of 100. of the total amount, then plus what he pays on VD, which is 4 out of 15 T, then plus what he pays at the end of the term. So EOT, like I've said, EOT is going to represent end of term payment. How much does he pay at the end of the term? Which you can say that let it be Y. So I'm going to come here and I collect like terms. So this will be T equals to 6 out of 100 T plus 4 out of 15 T. That is 60 out of 100 plus 4 out of the 15, which will give us 13 out of 15T plus, we have said end of term is what we are representing by Y. So since I'm interested in finding Y, then it means that I'm going to come here and have T is equal to 13 out of 15 capital T plus Y. So my Y will be T minus 13 out of 15T is equal to the amount of money he pays at the end of the term. So this will equal to 2 out of 15T is equal to Y. So that means that the amount of money this person pays at the end of the term is 215 of the total amount. So in order for us to obtain how much money does this person pay in total, since we know already the amount he pays at the end of the term, which is 160,000, so we shall have our Y equaling to that. So I'll set 2 out of 15T is equal to 160,000. Since I'm looking for T, I'll set 2T is equal to 160,000 times the 15. In other words, what we are doing, I'm multiplying here. Let me use another color. I'm multiplying here by 15. I multiply here by 15. So here, they will be like cancelling. So when I reach here, I will divide here by 2. I divide by 2. So my T here will equal to 1200,100. So that is going to be our T. So that is how you calculate your total amount, and therefore determine the amount paid for the child in the first. So we have not yet answered the question. So the total amount contributed is going to be shillings 1 million to 1,200,000. Now you answer the question. Amount paid for the first installment. We obtained that for the first installment is 60%. So I'm going to come here and say first installment amount paid for the first installment. So since we have said it's 60%, it's going to be 60 out of 100 times 1.2. And here we shall end up with shillings. When you make your calculation, this will be 720,000. Therefore, you'll conclude and say the amount paid for the first installment is shillings 720,000. Now, when I go to the second part, requires me to find how much money does he pay for the second installment. From our calculation, we notice that for the second installment, the amount of money pays on VD is 4 out of the 15 times that T. So I'm going to come here and I say amount paid for the second installment, amount paid for second installment. So we have said that this one is 4 out of the 15. So it's going to be 4 out of the 15 T. So this will be 4 out of the 15 times our amount, which was 120,000. So when you make your calculation, this will give us shillings 320,000. Another person could as well use the other approach, but this is one of the approaches you could use. Or someone could get how much money is remaining after the parent has paid the 720,000. Then after obtaining that amount, you could use or, alternatively, or amount remaining after the first installment. Amount remaining after first installment. This is the alternative approach you could use. So that would be that the total amount was supposed to be this minus the amount after the first installment, which is this. So when you subtract, you remain with the shillings 480,000. And they told you in the question that he pays 2/3 of the remaining amount. So amount paid, it will be now 2/3 of the 480,000. That is what remains. So when you make your calculations, 2/3, 2 out of 3 times 480,000, you end up with still 320,000. And therefore, you'll conclude and say that the amount paid for the second installment is that. So that is how you make your calculation. Then I'm going to come and I go to the second part or the last part. When is he likely to have a meeting and follow up this at the same time? Now, here I want you to observe the third part. They told that he also makes a follow-up visit at school every after 21 days and also attends weekly meetings at his workplace. Now, there are two things here. If you are not very observant, you may miss out on the second component because here there are two things we are going to look at. One, in the question, they have told us that one, he has meetings every week. Those are what we call weekly meetings, and also attends school every after 21 days. So I'm going to say weekly meetings. Now, weekly meetings, you know that in a week, we have 7 days. So those are 7 days. Now, when does he attend meetings or follow-up meetings? From the question, they told that follow-up meetings or follow-up visits at school every after 21 days. So I will say follow-up activity, which is equal to 21 days. Now, whenever you meet numbers that involve dates, that involve things that will occur again, that is an idea of LCM. Always, that is an idea of LCM. And that's what you have to do whenever you meet such numbers. Now, here I will say, finding the LCM of 7 and 21. That is what you have to do. So I'll come here and I say this is 7 and this is 21. So I start by 7, 1. By 7, this is 3. By 3, this is 1 and this is 1. So from there, what do I need? I'll find out that the LCM is going to be 7 times 3, which will give me 21 days. So that means that the lowest common multiple between 7 and 21 is equal to 21 days. Now, when did this happen? Now, this one last happened on the 11th of May. So the last time we met it was 11th of May 2025. What does it mean? Now, oh, sorry. The last time it happened was 11th of May 2025. Now, if they are to meet again, remember May has how many days? So here, this was 11 plus the 21 days, which will give us 32 days. But we know that the month of May has 31 days. So May, because you know that May alone has 31 days. So how many days are remaining or go beyond May? So it means that you are going to come, you say 32 minus 31, and you end up with 1, or which is first. So what does it mean? It means that the next month is the day they can ever meet again. So I'm going to come here and say that the next date will be 1st of June 2025. But you have to respond to the task. When is he likely to have a meeting and a follow-up visit at the same time? Then you will say he will have both the meeting and the follow-up visit after 21 days on the 1st of June 2025. That's how you respond. That he will have both the meeting and follow up visit after 21 days and it will happen on the 1st June 2025. So that is how, but someone could say, and it occurred on the 1st of June 2025. And it happened on the 1st of June 2025 because it is now past. So that's how you go on and respond to that particular item. So this question tested your knowledge of LCM, tested whether you know how to deal with time and timetables and the dates, but also it tested your knowledge of ratios, whether you know how to share things. Okay. Now the next item, we are going to look at the resourceful mock. And this item told us that at your school, the teacher in charge of co-curricular activities has been given 16,500,000 shillings. So what does it mean? It means that you must be able to write things in words. You must be able to write things from words to figures because the amount they have given you is in words. So you must be able to take it into figures. And the moment they always give you such, make sure you first summarize. Always first summarize and write everything in figures. So I'm going to come here and I write amount given to the teacher, given to the teacher. So how much has been given is shillings 16,500,000. Now, what is happening? They told us that for the Patriotism Day interclass competition, is planning to use 30% of this money to buy gifts for the winners. 2 out of 5 of the money is to be given to the class teachers to prepare their teams, and 0.5 of the remaining money is for buying water and glucose. The remaining money will be used to buy first aid equipment. How much money will be used to buy the first aid equipment? Now here the problem is on how is the money going to be distributed among the different items that they have at hand. So now here you have identified the problem. The problem is how do we share the money among the different items we have at hand. So that means that at the back of your mind, you must know how are we going to share this amount. So now I'm going to go and first calculate the first one. Now, how much money will be used to buy the first aid equipment? So here you notice that the first amount of money that is now planned to of this month to buy gifts. Money, I'm going to say money to be spent on gifts. To be spent on gifts. So on gifts, it is 30%. So we shall say this is equal to 30 out of 100 times 16,500,000. So this will give us shillings 4,950,000. Then they told us that 2 out of 5 of the money is to be given to the class teachers to prepare their teams. Then I will say money given to class teachers. So it is 2 out of the 5 times the 16,500,000. Now here, since they told us of the money, now here we shall make an assumption that this one we are looking at the total amount of money. So this one we shall be able to obtain shillings 6,600,000. That is the money to be given to the class teachers to prepare their teams. Now, and 0.5 of the remaining amount. Now, after spending on gifts and class teachers, how much money is remaining? Now, here I'll say money remaining after spending on gifts and class teachers. So money remaining after spending on the first two items. So this was going to be, the total amount was 16,500,000 minus the 6,600,000 plus the 4,950,000. So how much is remaining? This one will give us shillings. This is 4,950,000. That is the amount remaining. But they told that, and 0.5 of the remaining money is for buying water and glucose. Then I will say money to buy glucose. To buy glucose and water. So they told us 0.5. So it's going to be 0.5 times the 4,950,000. So always you place your calculator. So you say 0.5 times 4,950,000. So it will give us an amount equivalent to, so this one is going to be shillings 2,475,000. Then they told us that the remaining money will be used to buy first aid equipment. Now you ask yourself, this is what you had, and now this is what you have removed. Now, how much is remaining? So I'm going to come here and say remaining money to buy the glucose. Remaining money for for first aid equipment. So the amount we had remained with was 4,950. So if I remove 2,475,000, I replace my calc. So I'll have 4,950,000 minus that. So I'm going to remain with the shillings 2,475,000 shillings. So this is the amount. So I'm going to make a conclusion that the amount of money to be spent on the first aid equipment is 2,475,000. The other alternative part, alternatively, approach number 2. Approach number 2, someone could use percentages, whereby someone could say that the total amount will be equal to the amount that you are going to spend on gifts plus the amount you are going to spend on teachers plus the amount you are going to spend on buying water, then plus the amount that remains for the first aid equipment. Now, the total amount or your total contribution, here we know that the total contribution, let me call it T, will equal to the gifts, which is going to be 30 out of 100 of T, plus the teachers, which is going to be 2 out of 5 T, then plus the water. The water is that amount that is remaining. So that amount that is remaining, we shall always just get our T minus. Here, this one now will be 30 out of 100 T plus 2 out of 5 T. So when I quickly put that in the calculator, this is going to be 2 out of 5, 1 minus that. So here I'll end up with 3 out of 10 T. So now that is going to be the amount of money that remains. I think it is 3 out. So here I'll add 3 out of 10. But they told that 0.5% of that money. So that means I'll say 0.5 times 3 out of 10 of the whole of the money that is remaining. Then Let me hope that is clear. Then plus the first aid. So when you do your math, this will be T is equal to 30 out of 100 T plus 2 out of 5 T plus this is what? This is like 3 out of 20 T plus the amount of money to be spent on first aid. Now, you can do the math there. You can do the math. But when I do my math, here I remain with, this is going to be 3 out of 20 equals to the amount of money to be spent on the first aid kit. So that means you say 3 out of the 20 times the total amount, which is 16,500,000 to be spent on the first aid kit. So when you multiply that, you'll notice that you'll get your amount still here equaling to shillings 2,475,000. So whatever approach you want, you can use that approach and then you'll get the same answer. So someone could use this, another person could use the other route. But however, when you use this one, there are some disadvantages. In case you make any mistake, you may find that everything you have done is wrong. However, the first approach, at least you can score depending on the step where you end up with. Okay, that is the first part. Do not forget to conclude. Then the second paragraph tells us that the co-curricular teacher plans to buy 35 boxes of water, 60 boxes of glucose. He wants to package all these items so as to give a package of each of the 6 classes in the school. Each package should contain an equal number of each item and all items should be packaged, but he's not sure of the number of packages he can make, whether there will be enough for the classes. Now, here the problem is that we have the items, but we don't know how to distribute them such that they are equal. Now, here, whenever it comes to distribution, it comes to sharing things, it comes to splitting. That is an idea of HCF. So that is what you always have to do. So I'm going to come here and I say, boxes of water, we have here 35. Then I'll say boxes of glucose, here we have 60. And always do not forget that we must always deal with the same units. In case there are boxes, we deal with boxes. Kilograms should be kilograms. Grams should be grams. So you cannot mix kilograms and grams. No, you always deal with the same units. So I'm going to say finding the HCF, finding the HCF of the greatest common divisor of 35 and 60. So I'll come here and say this is 35 and this is 60. Highest common factor means that the highest number that can go through both at the same time or simultaneously. Take an example. I can start by 5. By 5, I'll get 7. I'll end up with 12. When you check, you notice that there is not any other number that can go through both at the same time. So that means that the HCF is equal to 5 packages. That means that when he is to divide these packages into 2 equal parts, it means that each of those groups will get a package having, it will get a package. Well, the package will be it can only make 5 packages. And in each of those packages, what is going to be contained? Because they're asking, what's the number of each item will be in each package? Now, the number of items to be got in each package, you have 2 ways. These remainders you always obtain are the number of items that are going to be in each package. Alternatively, you can go on and now say, now I have 35 boxes divided by the 5 packages, I end up with 7. I have 60 divided by 5, which is 12. So that is the second alternative. So here you're going to conclude and say that, what's the number of each item will be in each package? Then I will say that the teacher will be able to get the teacher will obtain 5 packages. And in each of these packages, and in each of the packages, and in each of the packages, we shall have, we shall have, we shall have 7 boxes of water, or each of the groups, in each of the, or each group, the teacher will obtain 5 packages. And in each of the packages, we shall have 7 boxes of water and, and 12 packages. Yes, of glucose. So that is how you can make your conclusion. So each package will have 7 boxes of water and 12 packages of glucose. Now the question is, will the packages formed be enough for the older classes? Give a reason. Now here your response is going to be either it is a yes or a no. Now here our response is going to be no. Why? Because we can only form 5 packages if we are to share equally. And if that is so, the school has 6 streams. So you will say no, because we have only, or we can only be able to obtain 5 packages, which is less than the number of classes we have in the school. That's how you make your conclusion. So that is the reason. And here the important statement is saying no, and then say why? Because the number of packages formed are 5, yet the school has 6 classes. So they will be less, or the number of packages will be less for the school. So that is how you respond to that item. We have another item here that you are going to try out in your free time. And this item is one, you can notice that the moment you see things concerning date, the quick idea that should come into your mind is the idea of LCM. Number 2, whenever you meet item 1, do not forget the following. Do not forget ratios and proportions. That is one of the key things. Do not forget percentages. Do not forget working with integers, converting numbers to the digits to words, converting words to digits. That one is very important. But also do not forget your knowledge of bases, because bases are going to be important. I want to end here, and I want to wish you a good day, and we shall start from here for our second item. Thank you and have a lovely afternoon.